Hello beauty creeps, welcome back. Popsicle Girl here, and today we are going to go through a bunch of brow tutorials. As you can see, I have two different brows on right now because I actually shaved my brows off. Yes, I said that right. Shave my brows off. You will see it in just a second. If you want to see more beauty and bizarre, remember to subscribe to my channel, Popsicle Girl. And if you like what you see, give me a thumbs up. Let's go ahead and get right into it. This has been awesome. Before I even get into this eyebrow tutorial, I'm finally gonna take the plunge. I am going to shave all of my eyebrows off. I went ahead and already did half of them. As you can see, I've been tempted for so long to shave the rest of them, and with this new hair color, I am excited, I'm pumped, I'm ready to do this. I have a few things to do this with. We're gonna use the same items I used when I shaved the other half. Side note here, red flag. If you have one of these lip trimmers, do not use it on your eye. Like, I know that should be obvious, but I thought maybe, just maybe this could be it. It's not. It's not. I gave myself a really bad burn, so just X-nay that one. One of the main reasons I want to do this is because, yes, I've tried this. I've tried this many times, and it just doesn't, it does work, but it's a lot of work for me, and I always feel like I'm not exactly happy with the payoff. I've decided to skip over this. So you're gonna need a couple of razors. I have two different kinds. We're just gonna see which one works better. This is just like your traditional drugstore, and this is one you can get at a beauty store. This one's a little bit smaller. These ones, they have a small blade. They're a little bit longer. They're actually intended for your entire face if you want to. I've also got some shaving gel. This is going to be a sensitive skin one without fragrance, just to make sure it doesn't irritate my skin. How about let's get into it. I'm covering the brows. I'm going to cover them pretty good. Not too much. I do have a towel, clean towel present. I would recommend that. We're going to go ahead and try the big one first, because why not? Get out of its little protector. This is important. When you're trimming your hairs, plucking your hairs, you need to go with the grain of the hair. You can cause ingrown hairs otherwise. Yeah, I just advise against that. You have to be careful if it starts feeling like it's scraping, because you don't want to start plucking and breaking your hairs there. It's starting to feel a little bit dry. Just go ahead and add a little bit more shaving cream. And I'll wipe this away, see what's left. Is this little guy left? Waiting for the time to pass me by. She's gone. For the most part, that worked. It left a little bit behind, but I got in there and I was careful. I don't want to irritate it too much. You can kind of see where my eyebrow was. I look like an alien on this side, but I'm not mad actually. The next one we are going to try is the beauty store. A little bit more expensive, but exactly for your eyebrows. Okay, this is definitely sharper. My eyebrows are just coming off. This is insane. I think we know who the winner is in this in terms of shaving off your eyebrows. Eyebrows don't see the light of day, so you can kind of see where they were. It might not be the weirdest thing going on in my look right now. I'm gonna go put on my makeup really quick, except for my eyebrows, so we can get to this tutorial. Hello and welcome back. I have done the rest of my face except for, obviously, my brows. I'm going to be showing you guys a couple different ways we'll be taking it off, putting it back on, so you can see some different techniques. So let's go ahead and get started. You can use a ton of different things when it comes to your eyebrows. You can use a liquid lipstick, you can use brow pomade, pencils, the list goes on. Honestly, you can use a ton of stuff and then set with a brow powder or a pressed pigment like an eyeshadow. That's how you get those crazy neon brows. But for this first brow, let's go ahead and use the lipstick we use for our lips to match our brows. A cohesive look. Since we do not have brows anymore, we can place them much higher, which is super exciting. Let's go ahead and start with straight brows. You will take where you want it, draw straight across. I'm just using the Sephora Pro Angled Liner brush right now. You are really just mapping out where you want this to go. You typically want it to start right at the corner of the eye or right before. That's where the natural brow would start. Decide what your desired thickness is. You can go thick, you can go thin. It's totally up to you. I'm going to kind of keep this in the middle just to show you the shape. Now this is totally optional. I've decided to taper the brow in. You can do it completely square off. It is a more bold statement. I like it. Don't be afraid, because your eyebrow is actually gone, to go out a little further than you normally would, a little higher up than you normally would. Now that we have our shape in there, let's go ahead and find a powder that will match this to set the shape so it is not so opaque and we have a darker brow. Found kind of like a rusty brown color that will match well. I've got a really tiny Pro Shader brush now. I'm just going to go in, fill in those areas I just did. Typically, I will go back and clean up the eyebrow. The eyebrow is normally the first thing I do when I'm doing my makeup. We do have just a little bit of an angle right here. For the most part, these are kind of straight across. Now let's go ahead and do something completely different. Using a pencil, we are going to go ahead and draw the other side very angular. You're going to make sure that we are following the curves of the head. Line it up with your other brow. As you notice, we're going to go higher here and not straight across. And then we are going to dip down. But don't worry, I know this looks kind of extreme now. We are still keeping it thick like we were before, but we are going to take it down, taper it. This brow has a lot more drama going on than this brow. It is a lot more natural, chilled out, more horizontal, straight across. This one has a lot more sass. She's ready to go somewhere. I'm gonna go ahead and wipe both these brows off so I can show you a couple more options. I can't tell you how satisfying that is. Another clean slate. Let's go ahead and go into a pomade because I just feel like let's go ahead and cover all of them. Okay, so for this, you are going to want to grab your product, pull off on the edges, or you will end up having far too much. You don't even have eyebrows anymore. You don't want too much of it. On this first eyebrow, I'm going to go ahead and start the eyebrow dark. We're going to go fade into a color. I am painting another shape. This is going to be a little bit more bold. I feel like that straight across brow is more of a natural brow, and I really want to do something that's even more extreme. So we have laid down that front base. Now we are going to find the color that we want. I like to use a mixing medium. I use the MAC Prep and Prime, but Urban Decay's All Nighter is also a great medium. There are a ton out there. I have another video, which I will actually link up here, that shows you how to turn any of your eyeshadows into eyeliners, but it also works for your brows. Get a clean angled liner brush. You are going to be going back and forth between the two colors, and it's just going to be a mess if you don't. I have chosen a greenish blue color. Once you have that shape in there, you are going to go ahead, put a pressed powder over both, and this is how you're going to blend them seamlessly together. Get a small brush. You want this to be more extreme. I'm going to use a little bit of a darker color here. You can already see that is much better. Going to take away a lot of that shine that's going on right there. Then you're going to go back to that color you initially used for the liner. At this point, you might need to switch to a smaller brush. Your tail can get real tiny. You're just gonna take that lighter shade over the area where the black stops and just lightly blend. The two colors will just kind of evenly melt to each other. Yes, the brow decides for you. We are going to go ahead and move on to a whole nother brow. One of the most popular is the feathered brows. It starts like little lines of hair and then kind of goes into a thicker brow shape that tapers at the end. You can actually mimic this with your winged liner brush, an eyebrow brush. As long as it is thin enough and comes to a point, you can easily mimic that same stroke. We're going to start at a different place. We're going to start at the middle of the brow because you don't want the front to be too prominent. Once you have the back end of the brow shape, you can go ahead and with the remaining product, that is when you're going to start making those lines up front. Definitely want to go ahead and go back and blend those edges, or you will look like you just had a crayon book coloring of your eyebrow where you traced along the edges really dark and then filled it in. It might be a look. Let's just save it. Notice I have not actually grabbed any more product onto my brush. I've just used what is there. We have a pretty obvious taper. This is much lighter and looks like my actual hairs. I sometimes like to go dip back in just a tiny bit and make some more prominent hairs. We are going to go ahead and fill this in, and it's going to be a little bit similar. We are going to start the middle towards the end again. Once you get to the front, get your product, tap it off, go to the middle again, and then once you've got a little bit of the product off, you're going to go back in very lightly. Have little brush strokes there. If that is too intense for you, don't go back in, just leave it how it was. You don't have to add extra little hairs in there. That's totally your decision. Let's go ahead and wipe these off and do a couple more brows. No brows again. This is a very, very thin, fine tip eyeliner. I am going to go ahead and show you how you do a slit. I'll just show you a couple in one brow. Basically, you're going to draw part of your eyebrow in and leave the other part out. Go ahead and do one above and one below so I can kind of see where it's parallel. Got the first box. When you're doing this, you need to take into account the curve. So if you are coming around to this top one, you need to know that it is sloping downward. It is not going to be at the same angle. So just think that there's an imaginary line of where the eyebrow is, and you are just kind of doing a dotted line around it. I think this is kind of cool as is, but let's go ahead and fill it in. Time to pass me by. Manufactured slits. I'd space some of them a little bit further apart. You can go back and clean these up with concealer if you feel like the lines are a little bit jagged. I'm gonna leave as is and show you one more brow tutorial. If you guys like this, there are so many other brow tutorials I would love to talk about. Comment below, let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. Now that I have no eyebrows, I'd love to talk about eyebrows. The final eyebrow tutorial we are gonna do is a dual toned eyebrow. Not talking about ombre, I'm talking about one line on top of the other. I think it is super cool. It is underrated. Nobody's doing it. Let's go ahead and use some of the cake liners out there so you guys can see just one more option you have. I'm going to choose white as one of the colors, base of green. Make sure you have water. You're going to go ahead and get it on your brush. I'm using an even tighter liner brush just because I know that this is going to be a dual brow and I want it to be a little bit thinner than normal. So you are only going to make the brow half the width that you normally would. Go ahead and make the shape just like you normally would, whichever shape you'd like, but make it thin. Time for that white liner. Follow that line that you've already created for yourself. If you go over, it's okay. These are water-based. You can easily cover it up. Hey, what do we think of this dual tone brow? I haven't even said it, and I'm very much a fan. Shaving my brows has actually been one of the most exciting makeup changing routines for me. This is really big because I can pretty much do whatever I want now with my eyebrows and not feel like those hairs that were there are getting in my way. I know this is not for everyone, and I will definitely update you guys in the future about my no brow life because it's gonna be different for sure. Thank you guys so much for coming to this tutorial. I will be back very soon. We are going to be diving into some makeup brand history in our beauty brand history series. So stay tuned. If you like what you see, subscribe. And if you enjoyed this video, I would love it. I hope you all have a lovely day, beauty creeps, and I will see you soon.